Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim, Chakudash. That belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the hopefully elect out there, you Akim, Tzadakim, that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. On the pre-Shaman in this week's in transit, I'm going to speak about Roe versus Wade. Overturn, a response to an article the elder Balak put in the WhatsApp, leaked documents about overturning Roe versus Wade, which is a law that permits abortion. Now that law is overturned. Abortions will now be decided by the states, individual states. And you have certain states that are anti-abortion. You know, you got places like Florida and Texas that always was sort of wanted to do their own thing, independent of like northern states and different other places in the South. These people got a lot of Bible Belt, religious people out there that know, according to the scriptures, abortion is a sin, right? But right now, the current law of the land is it's a woman's right to her body and all that, and it's labeled a pro-choice. Now, Genesis, the 3rd chapter, the 1st verse, always gets brought out, dealing with the subtlety of the beast, the serpent, which is a so-called white man, and his subtlety, his craft, is having something that might be met with resistance, but could craft it in a way that not only will it be accepted, but be highly demanded and highly favored. And abortion is one of them. Because let's break it down, right? It's called pro-choice versus pro-life. If you're against abortions, you're pro-life, and if you're with abortions, you're pro-choice. Now, shouldn't the opposite of pro-life be pro-death? Because logically, I mean, that is just what's happening for a fact. The killing of feet, right? It's pro-death. But that doesn't sound good. So let's call it pro-choice. So now if you're against killing a baby, you're against the freedom of choice. So that's the subtlety of the so-called white man, all right? And women are simple, you know what I'm saying? Simple-minded. And when you look into the scriptures, you click on simple-minded, you'll see open-minded. Somebody that is open-minded, it's funny because in this society they tell you be open-minded when scriptures tell you to be open-minded. It's simple, meaning somebody that's open-minded is like a child, right? Their mind is open or malleable to anything you sort of feed it. That's how come you can tell a child, you know, Santa Claus came down the chimney and brought that down the chimney in a presents. You know, you can tell him and the child believe it because he's simple, his mind is open. Really how the Lord wants us to be is closed-minded to the knowledge and understanding of the scriptures, right? But again, this bizarre world is upside down. Now, the abortion thing, it really comes back to when we were in Egypt, right? And the children of Israel, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right, you were growing in power, you were growing in fame, you were growing in everything, just like you are in America, just like you are in Greek and Rome, and just like how, wherever Jake is, we just tend to go on the rise. And Pharaoh demanded that all the firstborn males be put to death. Why? Because the man carries the seed, all right? There's no I'm half this and half that. No, whatever your father is, pursuant to the book of Numbers, all right, that's what you are. That's what your nationality is. So, because why? The man carries a sperm, the seed. Okay? That's what matters the most. Not the woman, because let's say for example, I got oranges and I want to grow them. I could take those orange seeds and take them anywhere across the world. The soil doesn't necessarily matter. I just need the right conditions to have the child. So the seed is the most important, and that's what the man carries. So Pharaoh is saying, look, let's kill all the firstborns, right? Of the Hebrew children, of the Israelites. Why? Because just like here in America, they see that Jake grows really fast. Jake constantly have kids. Our women are very fertile. That's why the scripture says the Hebrew women are more lively. They're more fertile. See, back then, women used to pray for kids. They would pray for the Most High to open up the matrix of the womb. Now it's been so perverted. Society has been perverted in the mind, the woman in the mind, which shows you that women have a very malleable mind, man. Like, whoever's in power can really shape how women think. They're not really independent thinkers. They have like a hive mind. They all generally think the same. And you can mold them to all think the same. So they're a majority of them are in a mind where I don't want kids. I want to be independent. If I want kids, maybe when I'm 35. You know what I'm saying? Then they all have their eggs are gone. And that was well crafted by the so-called white man, because what he does, he put that in the minds of these Israelite women, all right. But his women, all right, the so-called white women, they trying to have kids. They trying to have families. And the proof on that is these abortion clinics that was set up by Margaret Singer expressly told us that it was created to destroy you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Why? Because it's primarily found in the ghettos. Abortion clinics are typically found in lower income family neighborhoods. All right, and they be pushing this condom shit, condoms. Why? Because they don't want Jake to reproduce. They want women to be more sexually active. All right, but at the same time not have kids. So make them whores and make them not have kids. STDs. Look, man. Most STDs are treatable. None of them. No, you can't really die from that. You know what I'm saying? And that whole HIV is a complete myth. Like a myth in the sense of it's a sexually transmitted disease, and HIV is a retrovirus. No human can transfer a retrovirus to another human. It's impossible. You know what I'm saying? So that it's very similar to the whole C word situation now, how the media mass manipulated. If you don't believe me, just look up something called HIV victim. All right, HIV victim is a situation where women that were diagnosed with HIV, okay, that were virgins, but were still put on HIV medications. So that whole, you might catch HIV, AIDS, and all, it's man, a lot of people don't understand that situation, man. That the two have nothing to do with each other. And there's been hella studies where somebody tested HIV positive, they tested them 3 times and they were negative again. It's a lot of bullshit behind that. But brothers, if you want, you can do your own independent research on that, man. That whole HIV AIDS is all bullshit. And them STDs, they're all curable, man. All right. Now, a lot of that stems from all this sleeping around shit. Women dealing with multiple men. See, a man, even if a man had some sort of disease, right? STD or whatever, and he dealt with many women, that shit won't spread. It won't spread if the woman that he's dealing with only stick with him. How can it spread? It spreads when women open their legs to every quiver. They open up their quiver to every arrow. Scripture says that's how it spreads. So you gotta twist the society, okay, where it's have a whole bunch of sex, maybe have kids when you're 30, 35, and if you do happen to have a child, abort it. Nah, you see, that's the twisted part about it, man. That's what's so twisted about this world, man. Because what the so-called white man is a physical counterpart to the spiritual demon Satan, and that word Satan just means adversary. So he's adverse to everything the law, statutes, and commandments in the Bible speaks about. Isaiah 10:1, he writes grievous laws. All the laws that he's put together ought to go against the scriptures. You know? The Lord says, if you were to divorce a woman, she don't get shit. She goes her separate ways. Whatever's on her is hers. This society, she takes everything from you. They say half, but really, half pretty much destroys you. So this society is completely as backwards. Now, the fact that they're trying to overturn Roe versus Wade and have states independently have their positions on abortion lets us know that this kingdom is coming closer and closer to an end, because the scripture tells us that if Satan's kingdom be divided, how can it stand? That's how all kingdoms fall, when they become divided. Hell, that's how we fell, right? We was in our power. King Solomon, he went off, so the Lord said he's going to rent the kingdom. We were divided and we fell. You know? Amos 3:3. Can two walk together lest they be agreed? Once your society starts not agreeing with each other, starts dividing, starts those civil wars, it's a great indication that it's only a matter of time before that kingdom comes to an end. And we have history to prove that. The Roman Empire, Greek Empire, Persian Empire. Look what really took them down. It was infighting. A lot of times it's infighting. You know what I'm saying? Infighting for power, different decisions and stuff like that. That's how come in the kingdom of heaven, when Yahushua is ruling, we're all going to be in one accord. You know? We're all going to be of one mind. There's not going to be any, man, you know what? Let's vote on this and let's vote on that. And nah, man. All right, we're going to have a king, and that king's going to have counselors. Okay? But the king's decision is going to stand. A monarchy system is the way the Lord wants things to be operated. But the so-called white man has come up with senates and all this other different bullshit, 3 different branches, and all that does is, again, it just causes confusion, because one party is going against another party. So when it's time to make a decision, that decision could take forever. It's supposed to, if you have a monarch, he says what he has to say. He has advisors and counselors that say what they have to say. But at the end of the day, there's no voting. It's whatever he wants. You see? Keyword he. It should be a man. Why should a man be the one ruling? Because men aren't slaves to their emotions. Men could logic, logos, goes back to reason. Men could reason without their emotions. Men could put away their feelings. Women can't do that. And the Bible tells us, the scriptures tells us that not to lean upon our heart, not to lean upon our understanding, which is our feelings, because it's desperately wicked. If you just follow your emotions, follow your feelings, you'll find out that what our minds are wicked, man. You see, that's the way. If you look at the law, statutes, commandments, they're restrictions against our flesh, against what we want to do. A lot of times, you know. But they're wise words. What does the scripture say? The scripture says, the words of the wise are as goads. You know, the ox goad that you would use to poke the ox in the hind leg to steer him in the right direction if he's going off. That's why the Lord said, "Why kickest thou against the pricks?" Talking to Paul. The prick is the ox goad. That's what you use to prick the ox in the hind leg to make him go back. Well, you had certain oxes that wouldn't work. So you'd have to stick them in the neck. That's how come you get that term stiff neck. It goes back to that, you know, sticking the ox goad in the neck of some of these oxes that were just far too stubborn. And that's what the Lord called out people. He's saying, look, man, pricking you in the knee is not enough. You're stiff neck. Because I'm poking you in the neck with a fucking goad and you still not want to go on the right path. You see? So those wise words, though they prick us, it's to keep us on the right path. Because the Lord knows, look, the Lord's thoughts and ways are above our ways. He's the one that made us. Alright? You ever use a device and you don't even read the manual. You just kind of figure it out. But if you go into the manual book, the manual books be deep a lot of times. That's how we are as humans to the Most High. The law, statute, commandments is like the manuals, man, on how to operate this thing to the best. Society, everything. This is the man how to optimally run everything. And should follow it. So the Lord is telling you, you go through the scriptures and you read it's a blessing to have kids. Have them earlier. Because once a woman reaches the flower of her age, which is a period, she now has the right to bear children. And that's how it was, hell, like what, 50 years ago? Or even less than that, 30, 50 years ago. Because my mom, she had me at 18. And her sisters thought she couldn't have kids because 18 was sort of like late. You know, they were having kids like at 15. You know, so this whole idea of 18, 21 is super young. And that's a Western mindset, man. You know? Now, according to the scriptures, you know, when a woman hits the flower of her age, she's now entitled, you know, she's right for kids. I'm going to say this. We don't exercise that here at Great Millstone. You know? Now, maybe if it's legal somewhere in your state, wherever you are in the United States, maybe 17 or... Because, again, these laws vary. If it's acceptable in your particular state, then, and you're not breaking the laws of Esau, then hey, that brother could do what he want to do. Just don't get out that state. But in generally speaking, we don't advise breaking the laws that Esau got established. You know what I'm saying? In terms of dealing with women that Esau would consider underage. Even though the marital age, when you go to Wikipedia around the world, is about 15, here in America, in the West, you often see the legal age to deal with a woman is 18. Again, him being backwards, you know. 18 is just a feeling. It's not really rooted in anything, you know. That 13, 14, 15 age is rooted in the fact that she now has a menstrual cycle and she has eggs. Just like how when you now can produce sperm in your balls around 12, 13 years old as a man, you are now a man. You know, so that is rooted in logic. It's rooted in scientific evidence that this, once you can make children, you are no longer a children. You are an adult now. You know? Alright? You might be a young adult, but now look, you can reproduce. In the animal kingdom, they don't go off, man, you have to be 9, 6 years old now to whatever to have. No, man, they just, when we can now have kids, I'm going to try to fight and reproduce. The animal kingdom gets it because it's instinctive. It's only when you come in this society where you have wicked men, these nations that go against the law, statutes, and commandments, then arbitrary laws get set up. You see? But yeah, going back to the point, it's a blessing to have kids, and we used to pray for them. And now the so-called white man has sort of made it seem, he makes it very hard to even deal with kids in this society, because even if you understand these laws, statutes, and commandments, you don't even want to raise kids in this shit, man. Because you might take your kid to they get, you know, you can't afford private school. A lot of jakes can't. They go to public school. They get institutionalized, man. So your daughter could probably come back home to you saying, "Look, I want to be called a boy now." Or your son could come up to you and say, "Look, man, I want to be called a girl now." And the school would listen to that child. And if you try to discipline that child, they'll take your child, man. Again, adversary to the scriptures, because the scriptures tell you to reprove your child and spare not the rod, and do it very early. There's a Jamaican proverb that says, "Bend the coconut tree while it's young, because when it's old, it's going to break." Meaning when they're young, that's when a person's is easy, like to move around their mind, malleable mind. They get older, they can't take shit, man, because they've been set in their ways. So you're supposed to institutionalize your child, not the school system or the full system. You see? Homeschooling is frowned upon. It's just a lot of shit that the way the scriptures gear things to be, it's frowned upon here in America, and you'll get ridiculed and your children ostracized. So it's like, why even put them through that, you know? And plus, at the end of the day, America will be destroyed. You know? It will be destroyed. Now, the book of Jeremiah says, "Have no kids in this place." You know, because, you know, ultimately the Lord wiped out, stomped the hell out of Jerusalem. But it can be applied here, because all the hell that's going to come here, child's gonna be a heavy burden. A woman is a burden as it is. So having kids too is gonna be a heavy one, you know. But we're gonna fall back on the Lord and pray the Most High makes a way for brothers that have woman and child, which He will, because whoever's trusted in the Lord was forsaken, you know. But yeah, this Roe versus Wade thing, it's not been official yet. But the fact that it's even on the table shows you that, you know what I'm saying, you got different Edomites that are pissed off with certain particular laws, man. All right, and don't be surprised if a lot of those people that look like Edomites are actually Jake, because in their spirit, they know that shit is off with the Most High. I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Bashim, and this might lead to more uproars, man. This might be like another coal in the fire, all right, of sedition, all right, division. So Brakata Yahweh Bashim Yahushai for that, so let's see where it goes. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Hey, double honors to the apostles. Shalom, Akim, and we almost out this bitch. Shalom.